They're people who know each other and have worked together or worked for or worked with others. And when they go, they are the community going. Often a thing that makes any military unit good is a tradition that it holds. And the tradition that a Guard unit takes is the tradition of its own community. So what it fights for, what it dies for, what it tries to do in accomplishing its mission is more than just for self, it's for the community. And that's really been a strong, strong characteristic of the National Guard.
In 1916, in what was to be a dress rehearsal for World War I, the entire Michigan National Guard was called up for federal service to protect the border with Mexico after raids into the United States by the Mexican leader Pancho Villa. In January 1917, they returned to Michigan as seasoned veterans, just in time for America's entrance into the Great War. On his return to Michigan, Captain Westnedge was promoted to colonel and was placed in charge of all of the Guard companies in southwestern Michigan. When the United States entered the war, he made a dramatic plea for enlistments.
You young men and boys who are old enough, it is your duty to enlist. You mothers and fathers, it is your duty to see that your sons enter now. I can say no more than that. Enlist. Colonel Joseph B. Westnedge.
Military training for the balance of the semester will take the place of athletics at Kalamazoo College. Dr. Stutson.
I have found many young men anxious to enlist who cannot obtain the consent of their parents. Young men, if you want to join the Army, don't wait. We can take you without your parents' consent if you are 18 years old and can pass the examination. Come and sign up. Private A.B. Peeler, Army Recruiter, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
During the last 10 days, 100 young men have joined at the recruiting station in this city. They have shown that they were neither slackers nor skirt hiders. Kalamazoo Gazette.
They wouldn't accept me because I had flat feet. And he come in and looked at me, and looked up at me. He says, "How the hell did you get down here?" I says, "On the train, sir." Always put that "sir." He said, "I didn't expect you to walk with feet like that." And that's all he said. I thought, well, okay, they're going to send me back home again. But they didn't.
Well, we were good Samaritans. And they suckered us into. These wars are being, when you go to war, you're suckered into it, see.
Well, I thought it was my patriotic duty.
In May 1917, Congress authorized a draft. Within a few weeks, National Guard officers were ordered on active duty, and on July 15th, the Michigan National Guard was called into service. Initially, the companies formed in their home armories. On August 16th, all the various companies which composed Colonel Westnedge's command departed from their home cities to assemble at Grayling.
5,000 people crowded close to the troop train to wish the men Godspeed. Kalamazoo Gazette.
We are going, perhaps never to return, and the parting is hard. But a call greater than any other summons us away. Tell our good friends of Kalamazoo that our thoughts shall ever be for those at home whom we go to represent in a world struggle. Ask them sometimes to think of us. Colonel Westnedge.
Captain Emil Ganser would later write the history of the 126th Infantry.
Many a heart throbbed, and tears could not be repressed when the departing soldier finally embraced his loved ones for the last time an instant before the train pulled out of the station. The train steamed away amid waving handkerchiefs and flags, the ringing of bells and tooting of shop whistles. And here and there in the crowds could be seen an anxious mother, wife, or sweetheart with bowed head and moist eyes. The day will not soon be forgotten. Captain Emil Ganser.
Arrived here okay. The air is great. Nothing but pine trees and soldiers. Private Steve Brody.
Many a boy spent hours going all over camp for a pail of taps or to borrow a few yards of guard line for his corporal, and other similar missions, all of which was mystifying to the recruit, but deemed necessary by the old-timers as part of the soldier's training. Captain Gonzer.
Charles Bennett, a bugler, began a diary which he would keep throughout the war.
They got some rookies to go up in the woods, then caught them with a gunny sack and told them they were under arrest for trying to bag snipes. The sergeant of the guard was wise, and he put them in the guardhouse. Gee, but they were scared, believe me. Lieutenant Wheeler played the judge. Corporal Sherman was a lawyer, and they made some great plays. They had those rookies scared. Believe me, they all had long faces, for they knew what was coming to them. It was all for their benefit. They tried the first rookie. Talk about a scared lad, he was one. The bag had been found right behind him, and that was against him. He said he didn't know what a snipe was. The judge told him it was the shape of an egg, had 8 legs, 4 wings, and 2 diamond-like eyes. Sergeant Perry said that out west at night, a man would take a snipe bag and a lantern and hide the lantern behind the bag so it wouldn't show, and then have 2 other fellas drive the snipes into the bag, and that this was all against the law. They had an awful time, and finally the prisoner thought that the easiest way out of it was to plead guilty. So he did. Huh, he sure was scared to death. The other fellas were let go by an order from Colonel Westnedge, which was a fake. They'll get their trial tomorrow night. Charles W. Bennett, bugler.
After a month in Grayling, the soldiers were transported by trains to their next destination.
We hit Michigan City about 6 o'clock, and I got off the train there. Some of the boys got pinched for getting booze. We had to lay there until 8 o'clock to get things straightened out. But a girl got my address there. Charles Bennett, bugler.
After 4 days, they arrived at Camp MacArthur, a huge, hastily constructed base in Waco, Texas.
Boy, we've sure got a great camp. Our mess halls are long enough for 300 men. We've got electric lights on the grounds, and soon we'll have them in our tents. It's only about 300 yards from the mess halls to the latrines, and we've got a big shower for every company. Charles Bennett, bugler.
There they underwent further training in the techniques of modern warfare.
I think it was in December. We got training, and don't think we didn't get training down there in Texas.
At Camp MacArthur, instruction was given in bayonet work, target practice, grenade throwing, gas mask use, and trench digging.
Dear Mrs. Peck, I am one of the soldiers from Kalamazoo who ate some of your delicious jelly. And seeing your name on the glass, I am writing this to thank you personally. Now I will tell you some of our daily happenings. We drill about 8 hours a day. First we have calisthenic exercises, then bayonet drill, then bomb throwing, then lectures, and then we go to the drill field and learn how to kill Germans without a gun. Private Charles Berner.
The headquarters company had a Kill the Kaiser act tonight. First came the minister, looking very solemn. Then came the band playing a funeral march. Then came a squad of men with fixed bayonets.